it has been definitively stated by the FBI and by the Army CID that there was no hostage whatsoever. So right there, you say to yourself, what's going on here?
Of course. It occurred to me before you made the point that this might have been, a white flag that he was trying to wave. Do you know where he would have got a hold of the disposable diaper?
Yes, he was driving a police vehicle that he took to get away in. And I think that probably they keep certain emergency items.
Okay. How did he get a hold of the police vehicle?
Oh, that's where we start to get really complicated. He initially at Fort Dix took a DOD police vehicle that was left running in the parking lot to get away and get off base. He was trying to get away from something that was going on there. I can speculate, but there's no point in speculating on the air about what was going on there. But there's a history that I understand about people that were trying to take care of him. So he got off base in that DOD vehicle, managed to hide, to get into a ravine, and hid that vehicle. For a crazy guy, he was pretty much with it because he even covered the top of it so that aerial surveillance could not locate that DOD police vehicle with whatever, the lights that are on the top and so forth, and it says DOD police vehicle on the top.
Donna,
then he was...
Can we back up to when he was reactivated, what kind of unit he was assigned to, and what work he was supposed to be...
He was assigned to an MP unit.
He was assigned to an MP unit as appropriate to his background.
Which was appropriate to his background, and the history was that there were people from the Regional Support Command, one of the units within that, where he had served, who had something that they wanted to get back at him for. He had made complaints about some of the practices in that unit, and so they were...
Did this have anything to do with the use of drugs?
Oh, well, I don't know what exactly... I know that he had reported that they were not giving the rank and pay promotions to the fillers in that unit in Germany. I know also there was drug dealing in Germany, but I don't know if he had reported that. I know he had reported something about irregular police procedures within the MP unit.
Had he had previous service with the same unit in Germany?
Yes, they showed up at Fort Dix into this larger unit.
So there could have been scores to settle from interaction in Germany because
Loren made a successful complaint, let's say, that got his commander into trouble, and this was I think the brigade commander. Somebody got involved in it because this commander would not give the rank and pay promotions as he was told to do. And so they were going to take care of Loren. They were going to discredit him in every way possible. Anything in those stories that were saying that Loren was a schizophrenic or mentally ill, that all originated from that commander in Germany, who evidently thought that he could make diagnoses.
No. This is just to try to discredit him.
It's too much to discuss in this time too. I mean, it's just going to confuse people to start to hear all these different parts of the story, but I am putting it together in a way that I hopefully will be readable. And
Donna, we're just trying to get a sense of what was going on here, a bit of the big picture, and
well, that's kind of it.
We didn't need to know every detail, but the idea the idea that it was being reassigned to a unit he'd served with before, an MP battalion, I take it, and that he had served with them in Germany, and that he sounds like a guy who was very much by the book. And if you're very much by the book, you can definitely have encounters, particularly, I think, in the Army, with those who are operating, not by the book. And if this entailed, if he caused some kind of reprimand or non-promotion or whatever to a commissioned officer or somebody who is as high as you suggest in the military scheme of things, that could have led to retribution if he happened to be reassigned. I mean, it sounds to me like it was highly unpredictable, but for 9/11, that he would ever have had to return to that unit. but that once he returned to that unit, if there were, officers, or in particular this one officer that might have borne a grudge, that could have left him highly vulnerable. I mean, enlisted men are all highly vulnerable to the attitudes and conduct of those who rank above them.
That's right. And there is now documentation that Loren's orders were kind of manipulated, probably by that commander, to make sure that he was at Fort Dix when the 88th MP company showed up at Fort Dix, so that they could finish up what they had started in Germany.
This is a very nasty. This is a very nasty case, Donna. A very nasty case. Very, very troubling.
And then there's a connection between another commander who was involved in this whole business with the actual New Jersey Attorney General's office, so that it is conceivable that they were able to manipulate the media coverage. In fact, they did, because she gave a deposition in 2006 in which she admits that after Loren's death, she and this other commander from Germany were creating packets of media information and were disseminating it to the media so that they could manipulate all these stories that were so bizarre. It was a pretty slick operation, except that I think that it's uncovered now.
So maybe they were playing.
They may get away with it yet, but still, at least.
It sounds to me as though they were also conning the New Jersey State Police into believing that your son was armed and dangerous, and that that they had reason.
Called in. Right, somebody called in while the thing was ongoing. Someone called in, and this was told to me by one of the detectives on the case from New Jersey, and he said someone called in and said that Loren was heavily armed, dangerous, and wearing body armor, none of which were true. He was, none of those things were true, and it's very possible that the policeman that killed him thought he was wearing body armor, but that's another whole complication.
Was he shot in the head?
He was shot in the head after he had been wounded 4 times and was laying on the parking lot. I mean, and according to this man, he kicked the gun away. If there was a gun there at all, and then evidently he walked up to him and at close range shot him in the head, executed him, and referred to this as putting him down in one of his depositions. There was blood splatter all over the bottom of his pants, his socks, and his shoes.
The guy who shot him, the shooter.
Yes, the policeman who shot him. So, I mean, why they felt like they needed to make that story up, and when that happened. And, none of this is speculation on my part. It's all, documented.
You need heavy-duty legal assistance, Donna. I don't know what you've had in the past, but you need some guy who's got brass components.
Yeah, so far the lawyers that I've hired to represent me just to get records, not to mount a tort, because I missed wrongful death statutes because I couldn't even get the basic information.
Well, that's probably why. They probably withheld it from you deliberately so you would not be able to file in a timely fashion.
Well, want to hear something else interesting? At exactly the 2-year point, then the police, who evidently had retained a legal representation to defend them in what they thought was a sure thing, a wrongful death suit, they turned around and they sued the Department of the Army in a civil tort for damages for psychological and psychiatric damage that they had received because they had to be involved in this situation.
Bizarre.
Yeah, very bizarre.
But you're telling me these attorneys that you retained just to obtain records got uneasy about the whole thing and really didn't want to be involved.
Yeah, I had actually lined someone up for a wrongful death suit, and I thought we were all set. And then I received a letter just before the date was up, and they said, "We're sorry, we can't represent you," and they gave no reason. And by that time, here I was in a different state and trying to get an attorney from New Jersey. I just said to myself, you know what? This isn't about money. I don't want to make money on my son's death. All I want is the truth. And so I just let that go, and I was trying to make an appeal for the records. Eventually, a couple of years ago, I did manage to get the majority of the investigation records through New Jersey's right to